So let's talk about the loss of the submersible Titan. So if you hadn't heard about it, and frankly, I only heard about it a day or two ago, this was a submersible that was fielded by the underwater tourism company Seagate. Now, the idea behind Seagate was they were going to use custom built submersibles to take people on tours of underwater locations that were inaccessible through normal scuba gear. It's kind of the latest in the whole extreme tourism thing. I mean, you have people going to the International Space Station, you have SpaceX. So if you can go up into outer space, then why not go down to the bottom of the oceans? And in this case, the submersible Titan carried 5 people, the CEO and founder of the company, who was also piloting the craft, as well as 4 tourists. And we'll take a look at their website in a bit, but I think it costs $250,000 for whatever an 8-hour trip or however long you went around the Titanic. It's an interesting idea. I'll say that much, but there's a lot about this whole thing that doesn't smell right. That's exceedingly shady and weird, and we're going to take a look into it. I've done a bit of digging, and we're going to start off with by looking at a video I pulled up from CBC from last year. So this was from 10 months ago, and there is currently only one comment under it. Some asshole named Argent put videos that haven't aged well under the title for this. So this was an interview that CBC had with the founder, and we're going to take a look at it, and we're going to determine if this looked like a safe craft and this looked like something that you would want to go in.
We are inside the submersible Titan, which is a carbon fiber and titanium sub that can go to the depths of the Titanic. Hi, my name is Stockton Rush. I'm the CEO and founder of OceanGate. Let's take a look at Titan. So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible.
I can't even see the toilet. Okay, I guess that's it.
This is
okay. So that's the toilet.
It's the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in, turn up the music.
I don't know, dude.
It's
this thing looks ghetto as fuck.
We have
this is like crappy shaky cam, so you can't really tell.
Turn up the music.
But this thing looks super ghetto. Look at it. So it's literally just like a fucking barrel. That's the entire thing. There's not another room. It's literally just like
very popular.
This tube.
We have our control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can.
So we have just 2 monitors. They're just sitting out in the middle of the floor.
Put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens. So
raw. This is like I was really shocked when I found this out. It's like, okay, so it uses a video game controller. Okay, I guess to be fair, this kind of makes sense. It is a vehicle. I guess it does move forward, backward, up and down. But yeah, the whole thing is, we'll just let him finish and then we'll go into this.
If you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right, go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case.
Okay, there was so much insane about that, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so firstly, he's using a commercially available video game controller to pilot his extremely dangerous deep sea sub. So that is already pretty shady. The next thing, he couldn't even pick a good controller. It's like some shitty PS2 rip-off Logitech thing from the early 2000s. Dude, spring the extra $20. Get the 360 controller or the Wii Pro, the Switch Pro controller, or an Xbox One controller or something. This doesn't inspire confidence. Also, Bluetooth sucks. Bluetooth is a terrible technology. At least whenever I've tried to use it, the headphones suck. They have virtually no range. Anything disrupts them. And so, the guy's not even using a wired controller. He's using, a Bluetooth controller to pilot this, like, I don't know. Nothing about this makes any kind of sense. And let's go, and we're going to look at the Copium article. The missing Titanic submarine may have used a cheap video game controller. A $30 controller has the internet asking questions. Let's see here. The internet, being the internet, found that the controller in question in many of the photos and videos was the Logitech F710. The PlayStation controller used to pilot the Titan submersible appears to be the Logitech Gamepad 710. I wonder if Logitech would recommend using their products to pilot a homemade submarine to the wreckage of the Titanic. Okay, and here we have the Gigacope. This is Epico. There are a couple important bits of context to note right away. One is we can't be certain whether the expedition that went missing was using this controller or another one. Like who cares? They could be using a 360 controller. The fact is, this guy did an interview where he's like, we took this $30 controller from like 2010. I don't even think it came with Bluetooth. Did it even come with Bluetooth? I don't even know if it came with Bluetooth. We added Bluetooth on it and we hooked it up to our fucking submarine. Like, who cares? The fact that this is the guy who built it does not endanger your confidence. Another is that the controller first came out and cost $30. Is it a good controller for gaming? With more than 4,000 reviews on Amazon, it has a rating of 4.2 stars out of 5. Customers were especially high on the ergonomics of the controller. Featured complaints includes, okay, so it is include the use of AA batteries, the quality of the D-pad, and occasional wireless hiccups. That's a good idea. It's dropped. So we're going to take a controller with dropped controller input. I don't know if this thing has Bluetooth or not. No, it's connectivity. Okay, so yeah, they're using like a shitty dropped connectivity controller to go with it. So here's the Cope. The U.S. Navy used game controls to operate parts of its submarines, including periscopes, according to Device. Yeah, but like whatever you want to say, I trust the U.S. Navy a lot more than I trust this dude. This is just shady as fuck. Let's just
around and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case.
And he said, wait a minute, what does he said again?
Go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant...
I can hand it to anybody. So let's just think about this for a minute. He's like, I can hand it to anybody. So who the fuck knows? He was giving this, like, the controls for the submarine to just whoever the fuck was passing.
For a 16-year-old to throw it around and super durable, we keep a couple of spares on board just in case. This is the second year we...
Okay, so let's now I'm gonna be honest, I'm not an undersea engineer. This thing looks ghetto as fuck.
We've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions. We did about 10 dives to the wreck.
Okay, I don't know.
Site of the Titanic.
I don't know. That just looks really ghetto. That looks like really hackneyed and thrown together. And the wiring just looks like garbage.
Undiscovered reef that we found.
I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments if you're an engineer. I could be completely wrong.
Completely privately funded.
I don't know. Looks like shit.
Operation, and we're funded by.
I don't know. That doesn't look very safe and secure. I'm not.
Mission specialists who help support the mission, so they take quite a bit of money to come and join us. Years ago, the Russians took tourists out to the Titanic. And it was just sort of a look and see thing. We really are focusing on the science around it. We want to document what the wreck is like now and also try to predict what it'll be like in the future.
Okay, so that is the background on this thing. So we're going to take a look at the website and then we're going to do a deep dive into the story behind it. So this is the Ocean Gate website. Now it is down, but I was able to pull this up with the Wayback Machine. So there's 2 different websites. There's Ocean Gate, and then there is Ocean Gate Expeditions, which are completely different, which I find kind of weird. But we'll go through both of them. Okay, so this is Ocean Gate Expeditions website. 95% of the Earth's ocean is unexplored. You can change that. View upcoming expeditions Azores expedition, explore hydrothermal vents. We have some posts here from some satisfied customers who said this is like the safest thing ever. You have a lot of room inside the Titan submersible. I looks like it. It definitely looks like it. Dive with us. Recent blog posts. Titanic expedition. How the Titanic can help us better understand the ocean. Okay, let's look at the submersibles. Okay, so we have the Titan. Titan is the world's only carbon fiber submersible. Uh, you may be asking, why is it the only one? Because carbon fiber is not a good material, apparently, to build submarines out of. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Titan's unique ability to carry 5 people allows for multiple mission specialists. So, mission specialists are the paying tourists. They call them mission specialists because it makes them sound fun. And content experts, whatever that means, they share a once in a lifetime experience diving in the deep ocean. The state of the art vessel designed and engineered by Ocean Gating in collaboration with experts from NASA, Boeing, and the University of Washington. Through the innovative and poor use of modern materials, Titan is lighter, more spacious, and more comfortable than any other deep diving submersible today. It's a picture of it. I guess they cover the back part of it up. I don't know how well pressurized. And then there's also Cyclops, which is there. Other one. So let's take a look at the FAQ. The FAQ is pretty interesting. What is the Titan expedition? Join us for 1 8-day mission. Let's see here. Learn how you can join here. So to be a mission specialist, you need to be at least 18 years of age when the mission begins, have a valid passport to enter Canada, be able to board small boats, be comfortable and dynamic, fill out a medical form. Let's see here. Be able to show basic strength, balance, and flexibility. How is the Titanic experience different from any other? When you join the Titanic expedition as a... Okay, we began the Titanic expedition in the spring and finish in early summer. Check the Titanic expedition page for dates. It is approximately 400 nautical miles off the coast of St. John's, Newfoundland. The wreck lies at about 3,800 feet. How'd you get to the wreck site? It takes 36 hours to reach the Titanic. How long is the Titanic dive? Okay, so sub launches from the launch recovery platform. Descent begins. Takes approximately 10 hours. Dive team explores up to 4 hours. It takes 2.5 hours to go down and 2.5 hours to reach the surface. And it's recovered by the expedition vessel. It costs $250,000 per diver. We do offer a companion fare for those joining a diving mission specialist but do not wish to dive themselves. Whatever that means. I guess if you want to go on the boat. Can you scuba dive to the Titanic? No, that's a really bad idea. What will I do as a mission specialist? As a mission specialist, you will not just be going along for the ride. You'll be trained as a crew member in any role you feel comfortable doing or would like to learn. I guess gamer is one of them. We enjoy sharing this unique and challenging expedition experience and will guide you through each step. All crew members participate in operations briefings each morning and evening. Role availability may vary depending on the expedition you join and the specific mission goals. You may learn to conduct sonar scans of the wreck, communicate with the topside team, help with dive planning, open and close the Titan's dome, recharge the submersible's air and battery systems, drive a dinghy into the open ocean, and much more. Let's see here. What if I don't know anything about the Titanic, but I still want to dive? Okay, we have all kinds of people here. Do you have COVID-19 policies in place? What is it like to live on a ship for 8 days? Will I be seasick? What is a submersible? Can the submersible communicate with the surface? Titan communicates with topside comms and tracking team via text messages, which are exchanged via a USBL acoustic system. The sub is required to communicate with topside every 15 minutes or more frequently if needed. Tracking of the sub's position is achieved through the same system. Um, uh, is achieved by controlled by computers and updates the sub's position every few seconds. Apparently, it doesn't. There is a Wi-Fi network within the submersible, but it only connects components within the sub itself. The only communications link between the sub and the surface is the USBL system. Titan has 96 hours of life support. This is consistent with classing requirements and appropriate for Titanic, which typically lasts 10 to 11 hours from dome closing to dome opening. So, yeah, so they were at the bottom of the ocean. Supposedly, this thing imploded. Now, this is a case of who could think it was who could have thought that this would happen. That dude inspired confidence. The game controller did. The tin can appearance. The fact that it's the only carbon fire submersible in the world. These things all inspired confidence. Now let's take a look. So before we continue, I have to do some debunking. So there's a interview where the CEO of the company, Stockton Rush, said that he didn't want to hire white males over the age of 50 with military experience. And a lot of people are blaming the destruction of the submarine for him hiring an all-female design team that was made up of woke people who had no idea what they were doing. Now, looking at the website, like most of the people, the entire board of directors is like white dudes over the age of 50. So I don't know, maybe like the guy who's like the responsible for all engineering of Ocean's Gate's innovative fleet of manned submersibles. Okay, 404 era. But like I said, it doesn't look like the board of directors, at least, is like a diversity hire. Looks like they got together a group of people with at least some experience. So I just want to debunk that. Maybe the actual team, maybe all the engineers he hired were like women with dyed hair, but I don't know if there's any actual evidence of that. So if there is, someone can like can post an email, a link below. But if it's like fake news, I don't know. Right wing fake news really has to stop, guys. It's like you don't need to make shit up. I don't know. Anyways, so that was that's a bit of the background. Now we're going to talk about once again, no one could have seen it coming that this thing exploded. So let's take a look at what the past people, maybe the person who left the 5-star review for the 5-star days on the website said. The Titan was touted as a groundbreaking submersible that could give tourists the extraordinary chance to visit the deep sea grave of the Titanic. But past passengers had shared chilling accounts of safety issues, communication failures, and design concerns. 5 passengers are presumably dead. Fit 5 people with no seats in a curtain-off area for a makeshift bathroom. Malfunctions left passengers like sitting ducks. Brian Weed, a camera operator for the Discovery Channel's Expedition Unknown, did a test dive on the Titan in May 2021 and said, "The moment we started the test dive, things started going wrong. The submersible descended, but not all the way to the shipwreck. The launch was clumsy and less than a quarter of the dive in. There were malfunctions with the propulsion system, leaving the passengers like sitting ducks in the water," Weed said. This was supposedly 2 months before they were supposed to take their first deep dive down to the Titanic. And this was worrying to me because we were going to be on one of the deep dives to the Titanic. He said he was also concerned that the door was bolted from the outside, saying there's still a potential that there's no way out even if you're on the surface. Now, I don't know anything about underwater engineering. You might have to do that. But there was someone like who had, people were talking about maybe they jettisoned the weights, the submersible went back up to the surface, but they still suffocated because there was no way to get the the submarine open once they reach the surface. I guess they could maybe like break the glass with the controller. But it was the allure of the Titanic, the ocean ship liner. Let's see here. Your brain is willing to overlook some really glaring problems. Weed declined an invitation to dive again a week later. Weed, no stranger to risky situations, said something about this felt like there wasn't a plan, and that the reward was not worth the risk. We had issues with thruster control. We had issues with the computers aboard. We had issue with comms. So yeah, once again, it looks very very professional. Lost communications, wandering for hours. Tyler, who went on the submersible when it explored the Titanic site last July with his 20-year-old son, described the communication system as very difficult. There's a text-based communication system that's two-way, very slow, he said. I mean, when you're sending signals through that amount of water, it's very, very difficult. Now, my understanding, I don't know if they really could have done any better with it, but yeah. Mike Reese, a writer and producer who had worked on The Simpsons, told ABC News he went on 4 10-hour dives with OceanGate, including to the Titanic. The crews lost communication with the host ship every time. That's good news. When his vessel touched the bottom of the ocean on one of his OceanGate journeys to the Hudson Canyon, a loud squawk came from the radio. Okay. The sonar, the computers, the lights all stopped working. We went back to the surface immediately. 2 years later, he took another expedition to the Titanic site of the submersible, describing it as a car that you drunkenly drove into the ocean, steered by a video game controller. None of these really engender confidence in this whole thing. Now, my understanding is that because there's no real commercial market for mass producing these all have to be built kind of to spec. And I don't know, this one looks kind of shady. I don't know. Nothing about this really smells good to me. We were nowhere near the Titanic. There were underwater currents pushing us further and further the wrong direction. The sonar wasn't working, and the compass kept flopping from east to west, north to south. I mean, if the compass isn't working, that's a bad sign. Submersible got lost on the seafloor for about 5 hours. All right. He was in the control room on a ship on the surface. They could still send short text to the sub, but did not know where it was. It was quiet and very tense. Let's see here. He also claimed OceanGate. Okay, so we're going to get into this. David Lockbridge, who was hired to... so he got fired. Okay, we'll go into that. So it was a kamikaze operation. Okay, so this whole thing is just not safe. It doesn't sound vaguely safe. I get that under the best of conditions, taking like a submersible to the bottom of the ocean is probably not a safe thing to do. But there's stuff you can do to mitigate that. And this whole thing sounds like one massive Mickey Mouse operation. Like, these guys don't really sound like they know what they're doing. And the past track record sounds really bad. Also, I was watching an interview and they said that there wasn't that many fail-safe or redundancies. So my understanding is normally for stuff like this, you'll have multiple systems that do the same thing. So if one fails, the next one can take over. And my understanding is there isn't very many here. So we're going to take a look next at the account from the dude they fired. Okay, so here's where the story gets even crazier. Okay, so we have this submarine that's proven to be completely unreliable, that breaks down constantly. And on top of that, we also have this like video game controller, all this Mickey Mouse shit. But it turns out someone was a whistleblower. It kind of reminds me of that one guy from Star Wars: A New Hope, who's like tries to tell Vader, "Look, we only have turbo lasers on this. Fighters could very easily get in and attack the system. the station, and everyone just thought he was retarded, and they said that he didn't know what.
Of this battle station.
And what of the rebellion? If the rebels have obtained a complete technical readout of this station, it is possible, however unlikely, that they might find a weakness and exploit it.
The plans you refer to will soon be back in our hands.
Any attack made by the rebels against this station would be a useless gesture, no matter what technical data they've obtained. This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
So that's more or less what happened with this dude. Is he tried to tell them. They didn't listen to him, just like they didn't listen to what's his name, that guy. Okay, so let's go through this article. The maker of the missing Titanic submersible Ocean Gate was the target of complaints in 2018 made by a former employee over the safety of the vessel's hull. According to court documents reviewed by CBS Money Watch, Ocean Gate fired employee David Lockridge in 2018 after he expressed concern about the submersible's safety. The company sued him that same year, claiming Lockridge had breached his employment contract by disclosing confidential information with the Occupational Safety and Health Administration when he filed a whistleblower complaint with the agency. So they fired him because he went to the feds and was like, look, this is some Mickey Mouse outfit. This is going to blow up. This thing doesn't make any sense. In response to the OceanGate lawsuit, Lockridge alleged in a 2018 court filing that he had been wrongfully terminated and that his actions were aimed at ensuring the safety of passengers on the submersible called the Titan. The Titan is now the focus of a massive search. No shit. Let's see here. Raised concerns about the safety of the Titan with OceanGate and advised the company to conduct more testing of the vessel's hull. Lockridge said he disagreed with his employer about the best way and objected to OceanGate's decision to perform dives without non-destructive testing to prove its integrity. The paying passengers would not be aware and would not be informed of this experimental design. The lack of non-destructive testing of the hull, or that hazardous flammable materials were being used within the submarine. So my guess is that destructive testing would be they put it into, like they send it down to the 3,500 meters, 3,500 feet or whatever, where it could explode and it's placed in a position that could blow up. So they just tested it in like normal circumstances. It's kind of like if you build a main battle tank and you don't shoot it. You're like, look, this thing cost all this money. I'm sure the armor's fine. You don't have to shoot it. We don't have to make sure like it actually performs in combat. I'm sure it'll be good. It's fine. So they decided to not test it. They didn't tell the people that it was also highly flammable. That's not a good sign. The document added that Lockridge believed the company could subject passengers to potential extreme danger in an experimental submarine. No shit. Separately, a trade group letter sent to OceanGate in 2018 expressed reservations about the sub's safety. CBS News obtained a letter from the Manned Underwater Vehicles Committee of the Marine. Okay, whatever. OceanGate did not respond to a request for a comment. Lockridge, a submarine pilot and underwater inspector, said in his legal filing that he was trained to recognize flaw and points of failure in undersea equipment. His job at OceanGate involved ensuring the safety of all crew and clients during submersibles and surface operations, according to the filing. Now, someone pointed out that, like, throughout history, there's always been like ghetto hack job shit that was just thrown together, like the Wright brothers plane. And well, that's certainly true, and the space program was in a lot of ways like that. When it comes to the Wright brothers, they weren't 3,500 meters below feet below the surface of the ocean in a tin can that could implode under the pressure at any second. Also, I have a lot more faith in NASA than I do in these guys. Okay, the Titan relied on carbon fiber for a hull that would carry passengers as deep as 4,000 meters, a depth that Lockridge claimed in the court filing had never been reached in a carbon fiber constructed sub. According to the claim, he learned the vessel was built to withstand a certified pressure of 1,300 meters, although OceanGate planned to take passengers down to 4,000 meters. So, like, more than twice as much. I don't know how pressure scales, if that's twice as much pressure, if that's less than twice as much pressure, if that's more than twice as much. I'm not really sure, but it sounds like a lot. Lockridge also expressed concern that the company planned for the sub to rely on an acoustic monitoring system to detect if the hull was breaking down or about to fail. That wouldn't provide much help in an emergency, Lockridge claims in the filing, because the acoustic analysis would only alert people about imminent problems, often milliseconds before an implosion. Like who cares? It's okay. So it'll let you know like 2 seconds before the sub explodes, before it I don't know. It just collapses in a pot. Like that's not enough time to get to the surface. I don't know. The acoustic. The whole thing just sounds Mickey Mouse to me. Lockridge claimed the submersible needed additional types of tests to ensure its hull could withstand the rigors of deep sea exploration. Okay, let's see. I actually don't entirely understand that. Rather than address these concerns, OceanGate immediately fired Lockridge. The company immediately gave him approximately 10 minutes to clean out his desk and exit the premises. So someone tried to whistleblow on this. He's like, look, guys, this is a really fucking bad idea. This is an unproven technology. You're not even going to properly test it. We really should just take a step back. And they're like, you know what? You're gone. And this reminds me of a scene, like, you know, whenever a bad movie is made and you picture the production team of it and you go, like, when they were sitting in that room together, there had to be one guy who said, this is a really bad idea. And you always assume that they, like, killed that guy. And in this case, that's more or less what happened. They kicked the guy out who was trying to tell them about it. So that's what I was able to dig up regarding the whole Titan submersible thing. The whole thing is a clusterfuck. It's very sad. I don't know what else to really say about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting. God bless, and more content to come.